What's good, Washington Commander fans? The Washington Commanders selected Emmanuel Forbes out of Mississippi State with the 16th pick in the NFL 2023 draft. Some of us loved it, some of us didn't. But I'm going to give my analogy why it worked so well for Washington and where we could go from here. Stay tuned.
After the game, it's the aftermath. Win or lose, we still wave our commander's flag. Riding with Wentz under center, making the pass. Jahan Dotson, young rookie, making a splash. The burgundy and gold, that's what we about. Jonathan Allen knocking QBs to the ground. We die hard and nobody can shut us down. Cause this is the greatest show in town. Let's go! Go, 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 go.
All right. Now, with the Washington Commanders selected Emmanuel Forbes with the 16th pick in the NFL draft, that gave us 16 picks in the history of the Washington Commanders. Last year, we moved from 11 to 16 to pick Jahan Dotson when we had Wilson, Olave, Drake London, I think Treylon Burks there, even Kyle Hamilton there. We allowed the Falcons to move up to get Kyle Hamilton. Baltimore moved up to get Kyle Hamilton. So therefore, we end up trading back. But it allowed us to maneuver and get somebody like Brian Robinson, Federa Mathis, and Sam Howell. Now, to see how that draft pans out for last year, transition. Now we got to see. How Federa Mathis comes back from his injury, if he's able to play elite. Sam Howell, he's going to be the new QB for the Washington Commanders. We want to see how he translate into the NFL under new offense coordinator Eric Bieniemy. Now, Jahan Dotson had a breakout season because he had seven touchdowns, but he probably would have had more if he didn't miss 5 games, and probably would have been the Rookie of the Year over, I think, Garrett Wilson. So, with that being said, now Washington selected a cornerback that fell to them because there were so many other cornerbacks on the board. There was Christian Gonzalez. There was also Joey Porter, Deontay Banks there. Now, a lot of people said that Witherspoon, which he got picked early in the draft, that he would have been a choice also. But we thought once Witherspoon had got picked, there was going to be a run on cornerbacks, which luckily he didn't, because Ron Rivera wanted Emmanuel Forbes because specifically of the takeaways. That's the main thing that the Washington Commanders was lacking in. We had only 9 interceptions last year. Forbes had 6 by itself last year. Now, I went back and watched some film on Forbes for the last 2 years, not just last year. Now, when you're doing all of these prospect picks and looking at these teams, sometimes we don't get to watch a lot of college football. Some people don't watch a lot of college football. They only watch certain teams or hear about certain players, and then they just do research on them. But knowing how the SEC works, because they like Ron Rivera said, they are a step below the NFL. Because if you come out the SEC, you're pretty much, almost like pro level. Now, some players from the SEC haven't worked out as well. So therefore, we can't use that analogy because you got guys from Miami, Michigan, Ohio State, have panned out, Texas, Oklahoma, who knows? But anyway, so with that being said, that Emmanuel Forbes has now 14 career interceptions. He has 6 pick sixes, which is a FBS record. The one trait that a lot of people love about him, he has ball hawking skills. He's not afraid to put his head down. The film that I watched, he has had trouble with some receivers such as Dante Smith, Georgia wide receiver. He played against Jameson Williams also. He played pretty well against Jameson Williams. Devontae Smith, he didn't play so well against. Now, some people argue, hey, he was a freshman. Yeah, granted, I give him that, but it looks like he progressed each year. Now, the one knock that everybody has on him is that he's small. He's 166, 70 pounds, soaking wet. But you got to think, Darren Ring was short in stature, but 185. So can Forbes gain some weight? Yeah, he can. Is he going to play that way throughout his career? No, because eventually he'll get injured. You know what I'm saying? He's not going. Now, durability seems like he's been pretty durable through his career, not missing any time, not missing games or whatever the case may be. So durability is not an issue with him. Now, what I wanted to pick Chris Gonzalez, yes, that was my pick. I think he would have fit us just as well. He's a great cover also, but the one thing that we needed is speed. And this is I'm gonna give you 3 traits of Emmanuel Forbes, why it could work for us. He runs a 4.3. He also has a 1.48 second 10-yard sprint split, which is arguably the most important for a cornerback, considering the initial explosiveness is needed. There are some faults with Forbes, most notably his run support, but his speed to go downfield seamlessly with any wide receiver would be a major asset for the Washington Commanders. And that's where that comes in play. You're gonna have a Devontae Smith he's gonna see again. He's going to have a CD Lamb. He's going to have somebody like AJ Brown. You know what I'm saying? And you got Metcalf there. You got Drake London in Atlanta. You also have the dude from Tampa Bay, and I just mentioned his name earlier. So you going to have a lot of receivers that you're going to have to contend with in the NFC. Now, it's going to help him because you're going to have Benjamin St. Jude there. Now, what I think Washington will put him out there to start the season, don't know. Depends on how well he played in preseason and stuff like that. How well he catch on. They might allow him to start some games. You know what I'm saying? I think he's going to be the replacement for Kendall Fuller at this moment because Kendall Fuller contract's up. Maybe Washington end up drafting another cornerback in this draft and gratefully move Kendall Fuller out, put Forbes in there to start opposite of Benjamin St. Jude. Who knows? But nevertheless, there's are good things about Forbes that you can like. Now, another good trait that he has, instincts. He does have elite instincts. He does arguably is aware on the field. He does play with aggression. He does take chances now, but at the same time, he's not scared to put his head down to make tackles. A lot of the tackles I have seen throughout the years, from last year to the previous 2 years, he will move up to tackle. Now, there's sometimes his first year when he was going against Devontae Smith, Devontae got the best of him because you saw him, Devontae turns him and he gets lost. You can't do that, you know what I'm saying? Now, has he gotten better? Necessarily, yeah, he had gotten better. But I still say, even though he's a dog and everybody, say, hey, this is not a bad pick, he's a dog, we need this, we need that. You got to look at all the other cornerbacks that's there and give your best analogy. You can't get so much sold on a guy because he has all these turnovers. Because what if it doesn't translate into the NFL? What if he don't get these turnovers? What if he gets torched immensely, you know what I'm saying, against all of these? You got to think, playing against a team like Kansas City that throws the ball all the time. You know what I'm saying? You got to think about Buffalo. You got to think about Green Bay. You got to think about the Saints. You got to think about all these teams that has great wide receiver weapons. How he's going to fare up, you know what I'm saying? Because you can't hire him. You draft him at 16, so at some point in time, he's going to have to start. You need a guy that could cover. Now, he's tall, he's lanky, he's 6'1". He's tall and lanky. Like I said, he got a 73-inch wingspan. So the dude could do some things. Now, not thinking that he's not a good player, because that's not what I'm saying. He is a good player. I think for what our scheme allows us to do, he's going to fit right in there perfectly. You know what I'm saying? Um, but in this league, you gotta have at least two shutdown corners. And matter of fact, he like every corner has got burnt. There's not a corner in the NFL history that has not get burnt. Remember, before Deion Sanders was Deion Sanders because everybody liked Deion Sanders because he could run punts, he could run kickoff, and he took risks of intercepting making interceptions. But Deion Sanders also got burnt. Now, one thing they knocked him on Deion Sanders, he didn't like the tackle, and you go back in history, you look, Deion Sanders didn't like the tackle. Now, another person that was good, Darryl Green. He would go up, he will run you down, he will make tackles. He was small in frame, but he got in there. He had that dog mentality. D'Angelo Hall, same thing. So there are some good things that I'm sure that Emmanuel Forbes has looked at, has taken into accountable, and put into his repertoire by watching these guys. This guy, he will be a pro, you know what I'm saying? And if he gets interceptions like he's been doing in college, he's gonna be an all pro. He's gonna be a pro bowler in no time. If this dude comes in next year and he gets at least 4 or 5 interceptions, he as a rookie, I can see him making a Pro Bowl. Also, like I said, Foles has elite instinct. You know what I'm saying? He has quick twitch traits that makes the prospect at risk sometimes. Ron Rivera knows what is at stake if this goes wrong. So there's no doubt he has 100% confidence that this guy, his attributes could be the missing piece that develops as a puzzle to help this defense. Because you got to think, with a defensive line like ours, remember, we wasn't good in getting sacks or getting pressure on the cornerback. Guess what we did this year? We had 28 sacks. We was getting to the quarterback a little bit more. We was getting in the backfield, blowing up plays, and getting off the field on third downs. Now, if you add an element of somebody like Emmanuel Forbes caliber to the defense secondary, then now you have a guy that could, defense, quarterback's going to try to test him early, you know what I'm saying? But if he make enough plays, then you make the offensive coordinator for the other team think, say, oh, you know what, I can't go that way. Now and then if you got Benjamin St. Jude's over there locking down, then you like, okay, now we're gonna have to do something totally different. You know what I'm saying? His run support is a nod, but he will play close to the line. I can't see him running up there and tackling Saquon Barkley or Derrick Henry and all of that type of stuff like that. That's going to be tough for him because he's still a small frame guy and everything like that. So that's the main thing that we have to watch out for at that most part right there. Now the one thing is, like I say, he's a playmaker. Playing in the SEC is where the top competition is. So this guy is not no slouch. You know what I'm saying? He's not a slouch. He has 14 interceptions and 22 pass defend in 3 seasons with Mississippi State, and which 6 of them he brought for a touchdown. You know what I'm saying? Ron Rivera loves him. Like he said, he's a turnover machine and everything like that. So I just feel like, I think a lot of people are missing the point on him. They're missing the point on Forbes a little bit because they think that since his body is so small, that, oh, well, he's not going to be a great. This dude he has the tools. He has the tools. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you look at him, it's like, well, okay, he's 166 pounds, but he's explosive. He's fast. And he can get there. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, a lot of people was upset, because the offensive tackles was gone. They was going by pick 14, and Gonzalez was there. It was, I don't know why some people was talking about us drafting Will Levis because like we desperately need a quarterback. We have a quarterback in there, and I just don't like the disrespect that they are giving Sam Howell right now. Like we don't have a quarterback in the room. Sam Howell is going to be that guy. And if he's not, then, hey, there's something Rondo got to deal with. But Gonzalez, I think, to me, when you look at it, comparing Gonzalez and Kristen Watson, I mean, Gonzalez and Forbes, I mean, you got to think about there's not too much of a difference. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people want to go him there, Gonzalez there. Um, but if you sit down and look at it, it makes sense. You know, it makes sense. But at the same time, these are the things that we need to improve our team because, again, our team has not been good in getting sacks. We improved in that. Now we only had we only had 9 takeaways last year, and I think 2, 3 of those was Derek Forrest. He had like 2 of them. We don't create a lot of takeaways, you know, where we could put teams in jeopardy. You know, we can't continue to always rely on our defensive front to make plays. If they getting pressure and they passing the ball, and we don't have guys that could cover because Benjamin St. Jude doesn't take the ball away as much. You know what I'm saying? So we don't have that. We don't have that element. You know what I'm saying? Now, what are they going to do with Kendall Fuller? Who knows? Could they move him to slot? Yeah, they could. Now, Fred Smoot loved to pick. He's from Mississippi State also. Jalen Ramsey loved to pick. So, I mean, a lot of people love to pick. I mean, but at the same time, I just think that Washington could have traded back to get him, but I think they felt like he would have been gone. He wouldn't have made it to the second round. But I still think there was a chance that teams would have drafted him because New England was right behind him, so New England could have picked him. New England probably would have get him, and then who knows what would have happened. Then you could have a run on cornerbacks, and I think after the New England pick, I think there was no more run, no more run in for cornerbacks because let me see. Yep, if you think about it. Dante Banks he was the last. He went to the Giants. So the Giants got a cornerback. You know what I'm saying? Now, Dante Banks is from Maryland. Everybody thought they was going to get him too. So you got to think. Dante Banks went to went to the Giants. And Emmanuel Forbes went to us. Gonzalez went to the Patriots. So that's 4 cornerbacks went off the board in the first round. Witherspoon, Forbes, Banks, and Gonzalez. They all went off the board. So now, if you look at it, in the second round, what could be available for the Washington Commanders? Who knows? But at the same time, I'm going to support the guy because he's on our field. And I hope he excels, beat all the expectations that is provided for him right now because this is what we need at this moment. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I really don't hate the pick. Now what? Before I go off, now what can Washington do in the second round? Maybe they could draft Darnell Washington with the 47th pick. You know what I'm saying? If he make it that far, if we was to land Darnell Washington, I would be happy. Then that means that we nailed on the 2 picks the first and second round. Darnell Washington could bring what we were all but wanting out of the tight end group. And maybe that's what they're going to be looking at in the second round today, hopefully. But nevertheless, leave your thoughts about Emmanuel Forbes. I mean, I like the kid. And you know what I'm saying? I give this grade a B. I don't give it an A. Also, when we pick second and third today, I will give my analysis of them 2 picks and what I think. Also, but I think for what we needed for this team in the secondary, I think Emmanuel Forbes, he fits the scheme. Could we got it got the same thing out of Gonzalez? Don't know because we didn't pick him. I mean, some people say Gonzalez can't tackle. Um, but again, we don't know. I mean, there's only so much film and tape that we can see on the guys, unless you see them game in and game out, you know, and stuff like that. And that's the thing about it. We really don't get to see some of these teams play because they play on the other side, other coast. But the SEC is a measuring stick, just like the NFL. So I think Forbes is going to be fine. I think he's going to be fine. I think he's going to provide the necessary stuff that we all need for this team. I think our team needs we haven't had that excitement in the secondary in a long time since Sean Taylor. And if Forbes could bring that excitement, that tenacity, that instinct like he has, I think it would be really great. And then you could pretty much say then we'll almost have a complete defense with the defensive line and the secondary. And that's where it starts at, having a complete team, not just one or two players that's elite, having a whole complete package of players that all could play on the same level. Because if the defensive line making plays, then teams going to be reluctant to throw against our secondary because they say, okay, well, we got a great secondary and you great elite corners, and now we got a problem with the defensive front. And that, I still hope that we will be able to address the linebacker position in this draft. But knowing Ron, who knows? But for the point now, Ron got his guy that they went after, and they will hope that he lands, and he did land. So therefore, let's see what happens next. But again, continue to like, comment, subscribe to LiveWire Sports Entertainment. I do have a merch line with print champs that just dropped with some Commanders gear. And I do have a Vintage Sam Howell t-shirt and hat. So I will be dropping that link into the bio as well. So until then, guys, see you on game day. Not game day, but draft day 2. And I'm out. Peace.